Hey, what's going on, guys? DC Gaming here, back with another video. So in this video, it's going to be my first class setup video. This class was actually completely random. I didn't even know how powerful this weapon was until I picked it up off an enemy who had died. I'm not sure if it was a teammate or an enemy, but I picked the weapon up and I just started kicking ass with it. So I suggest you guys to really use this weapon before they roll out with the next update that's going to buff and nerf a bunch of weapons. Although buffing a weapon would kind of be an advantage. But the weapon that we're going to be talking about or using in this create a class video is called the Weevil. Not many people use this weapon, which is why not a lot of people realize how powerful this weapon can be, especially when you have all the attachments and everything on. This weapon is just an absolute beast. So for an optic, it really is a personal preference. My preference would usually be a reflex sight. That's what I always roll with, but for this weapon I can't really use the reflex sight. I don't know why, but I work really well with the ELO sight. So for this class we're going to be using the ELO sight. Now for the attachments, you're going to go with quick draw, aim down the sight faster. I always choose that with my weapons just so that way I have that extra time to aim down my weapon and I have a better chance of killing the enemy because I'm shooting them first, if that makes any sense. For the second attachment, we're going to go with FMJ, increased bullet penetration and damage against score streaks. When I first started playing Black Ops, I didn't think that FMJ was, worth putting on your weapons at all. But now that I actually know what it does, it actually can be quite useful. So I'm going to read this again. Increased bullet penetration and damage against score streaks. So when I first started playing Black Ops, I thought that all this did was make it a lot stronger against score streaks, which I never look up in the air and try to shoot down a score streak. Like a UAV, I'll never look up in the sky and try to shoot down a UAV with just my weapon. But it says increased bullet penetration, which means that the damage does increase. It does make the weapon a lot more powerful. Well, I say a lot, it's only 2 bars, but it can really help. So we're going to be using FMJ for the second attachment. And we're going to be using primary gunfighter, the wild card, and we're going to be taking a third attachment here. This is a personal preference. It's whatever you guys think you work best with. My suggestion would be fast mags or rapid fire. It's completely up to you guys. So in this class setup, I'm going to be using fast mags. Now moving on to the perks. These perks are not specifically for this class. I always use these perks. Doesn't matter what weapon I'm using, I will always use these perks. And I have no problem at all with you guys using the perks that I use. So for perk 1, we're going to be using Afterburner, which thrusters have faster recharge rate. Basically what this is going to do is sorry, just give me a second here. So yeah, I use this specifically because when I'm in a match, I like to rush. I'm always rushing and running and jumping around the place, trying to avoid the enemy's bullets. And because I'm always up in the air or always trying to be in the air to avoid the enemy bullets, I have a better chance at doing that if I have this equipped. If I take this off, I'm going to be down on boots on the ground a lot more than I am going to be in the air, which kind of leaves me open because the enemies are still able to boost around if they have this perk equipped, which means that they have a better advantage. So I'm going to take Afterburner, and then for the second perk we're going to be taking Fast Hands. Swap weapons faster and aim faster after sprinting. Swap weapons faster, I don't really, that's not the reason I use this, but it's more for the aim faster after sprinting. So as I said earlier, I'm a rusher. I like to rush into the game and try and kill as many people as possible. And to do that, I need to be able to aim down my sight faster. That way when I'm sprinting and I see an enemy, I can aim down my sight, aim at that enemy in the shortest amount of time. With fast hands and quick draw both equipped, you're just going to aim down almost instantly. For the third perk, we're going to be using Blast Suppressor. No minimap signature when thrust jumping, thruster sound is suppressed. So basically what this does, why this can be an advantage towards you, is because when the enemies put up a UAV and you don't have this equipped, basically on your map, every time you're boosting around, sorry, not your map, every time you're boosting around, the enemies are going to see on their map, if they have a UAV up, that it's kind of putting off a little ping every time you're thrusting around. So it kind of gives away your location. So it's always best to have this equipped, that way that ping isn't going off on their map when they have a UAV up. And thruster sound is suppressed, which means that the enemies aren't going to be able to hear you as easily. Even with this off, they're going to be able to hear somebody jumping around, but they don't know if it's a teammate or an enemy. But the reason this is an advantage, because as long as you have this equipped, they're not going to hear that. They're not going to hear the thrusters going off. So for the third perk, we're going to be using Blast Suppressor. And that's it for the perks. As I said earlier, I use these perks in every one of my classes. I'll never change. Well, not that I'll never change. If they buff one of the perks, I will, but I've never changed. I've always used the same perks. And then for our last, I'm not sure what to call it. I'm just going to call it thing. Our last thing out of the 10 that we can have in this class, you guys can put it towards whatever you like, a tactical, a lethal, a secondary. It's a personal preference. I'm going to go with a tactical and take the flashbang just because that's what I work good with. So that's it for the class. It wasn't really for the perks. It was more for the weapon itself. But because I use the same perks in every one of my classes, I'm never going to be really talking much about the perks in my created class videos or best class setup. One tip that I can give you guys though, and this has to do with the camos, is that for example here, Underworld, well, Underworld's not that bad, but I'm gonna say, like, use that as an example. So Underworld, Ice, Energen, Royale, and Lucid, especially Lucid. This is a new camo they added for zombies. These, as you guys can see, are really flashy camos. They kind of give away your position, I guess. They can really give you a disadvantage when you have a flashy camo on. I'm not saying don't put a camo on or anything. It's always best just to stick with no camo. That way you're not really giving away your position. But let's say, for example, you're running down in a map, you're running down like let's just say you're running down mid, and you can see at a distance an enemy with a really flashy camo on their weapon. It's going to be a lot easier to see them with that camo than it is if they didn't have any camo equipped, just because of the coloring and everything. So it's always best not to take a camo, but I am going to take Energen. And I hate to brag, but it's just because I do good either way. So if you're one of those people, then go right ahead. Even if not, go right ahead. It's really up to you guys. It's just a tip that I suggest you guys really use. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed my first creative class video, and if so, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Peace. So I was going to end the video there, guys, but I figured why not just show you guys some gameplay with the weapon before actually ending the video. Let me just turn down the audio here. So yeah, I'm going to give you guys some gameplay of the class that we just made, just to show you what this weapon's actually capable of.